One of the things, you bring that up, Bobby, and I think one of the things we often fall into the trap of in an election year is to see, let's take the most important of those amendments, the First Amendment, through a partisan lens. Do we have a Democratic Party that has been using social media companies to silence speech through the back door that they could not through the front door? Absolutely we have. Is that something we need to hold them accountable for? Absolutely. But I think that if we're to, and this is one of the things I love about you, Tucker, is you're willing to challenge people 360 degrees. I don't care if you're Republican or not, I had conversations with a number of Republicans in the last week who are railing appropriately against Brazil for its banning of X, which is preposterous, actually. This is a major Western, supposedly allied nation. The very people who claim that we want to stand for human rights and democracy abroad have nothing to say when it comes to Brazil banning a social media platform. But then I challenge some of these same people, because I know what their views are on this question, to say, gee, it sounds like a pretty bad idea for a government of a supposedly free country that just bans outright a social media platform because they don't like the way that it operates. And here's the part where we challenge our own people. That's exactly what the U.S. government has done with respect to a platform that I don't love that much. I don't like it. I don't like many aspects of it all, TikTok. But I do think that we live in one of these moments where the trap in an election year, this is one of the things I loved about your candidacy, Bobby, is leaving the Democratic Party to run as an independent allowed you to do what more of us in either party need to be doing, is question the orthodoxies of both parties and go back to first principles of what's in the U.S. Constitution. And you gotta have the same shoe fit the other foot, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. And that's one of the things I loved about the way you ran your campaign, man.
Thank you for that. I saw Vice President Harris this week gave a statement where she said that, she said two things. She said, one, that Elon Musk better watch out because if he abused free speech on Twitter, that he would get that privilege taken away from him.
It's not a privilege.
Yeah. Oh, and it isn't a privilege, as you know, it's a right. And she said, he gave a press conference in which he said that these companies need to be punished for putting disinformation and misinformation and hate speech up on the internet. And the thing is, with the and Vice President candidate Waltz said the First Amendment does not protect disinformation and misinformation. But that's not right. The First Amendment protects disinformation, and it protects misinformation, and it protects lies. It protects all speech. It was not written for the speech that we all want to hear. It was written to protect a speech that nobody wants to hear. And it was, and you know, we have a Democratic Party, the party I grew up in, and the word liberal is a derivative of the term for free speech. So that was the central core of this party. When I was growing up, my father, my uncle loved this country so much because of they loved the freedom to debate, have conversations, the free. This idea that the free flow of information was the sunlight, it was the soil, it was the water for democracy, and without it, democracy would wither and die. They knew that. Oh, I have a case right now against the Biden administration, and I was just granted an injunction in the federal courts. Kennedy versus Biden, and Judge Doty, the federal judge in that decision, wrote in the earlier decision, he wrote a 155-page decision that details what we now know about the Biden White House's censorship program. And what Doty details in this is that 37 hours after he took the oath of office, swearing to uphold the Constitution, which includes the First Amendment, he opened up a portal and ordered the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, to begin censoring his political critics. And on medical information, but also other information as well, including criticism of the Ukraine war. And I was the first person that they ordered Facebook to censor. Facebook actually pushed back at one point and said, Facebook complied and took down my entire Instagram account with almost 1 million followers. But they couldn't find a single factual misstatement, error on my Instagram account. And Facebook, during the email exchange, which we now have, pushes back at one point and says, this is actually not factually erroneous. And so they had to coin a new word, which was malinformation, which is information, factual assertions that are technically correct, but are nevertheless inconvenient for the government. And they ordered Facebook to censor misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. So that portal which they opened, the Biden White House turned over to the FBI to manage. So you have the FBI participating in the censorship of American citizens engaging in political speech. The FBI then invited the CIA, CISA, which is a group that you may not have heard of, but it is the center of the censorship industrial complex, the DHS, the IRS, which I don't know what they were censoring, and NIH, CDC, and FDA to participate in this censorship project. And I now have an injunction against the Biden White House from doing that to me anymore. But it's troubling to me for the very reason, Vivek just mentioned about what happened in Brazil. And Tucker, you and I talked about this. We're seeing an emergence now of totalitarianism in all the Western democracies, like nothing that I could have ever imagined. Europe no longer has free speech. Europe is now, the European Union is officially censoring information on the internet. And the head of the European Commission, a man named Thierry Breton, recently sent a letter to Elon Musk saying that if he aired an unedited version, a live interview with President Trump on X, he would be fined as much as 6% of the value of the company. And then France, a week later, arrests Pavel Durov when he the founder of Telegram, when he lands on a gas stop, a fuel stop in France. This is particularly alarming because France had as robust a passion and tradition for free speech as we had in this country. During the during the French Revolution, 1789, the French Republic adopted all of these very, very strong laws guaranteeing freedom of speech. And then in the 1880s, they passed another slew of laws, again, protecting free speech. And they guarded that and nurtured that as much as we did in this country, as much as any country in the world. So to see France do this, and by the way, there's no reason for them to arrest him because he's a citizen of Abu Dhabi. France has an extradition agreement with Abu Dhabi, so they can extradite him. But furthermore, the European Union already is censoring content. So they went an extra step to arrest and punish this person and put him in prison to send a message to all of us that, about who's in charge. And that is terrifying to me. I have so many Democratic friends You know, Jimmy Dore was on here earlier, fantastic, and he was talking about January 6th. And what I say is, people broke the law on January 6th. If you broke the law, you should be punished. But was the Republic threatened on January 6th? Was right? And even if a building was burned down, it's not the end of the Republic. It is not. And you have the U.S. military there. You have these agencies. We have institutions in our country that are still functioning. We have a Congress, et cetera, that would resist the violent overthrow of an American government. And I don't think we were close to a violent overthrow of the American government. But those attacks on free speech, to me, are a genuine existential threat to democracy and to the Republic.